What's up, everyone? Welcome to my island. I don't have any trees to punch or any of the normal stuff you do when you start off on Minecraft, but there's an ocean around me, so I decided to go exploring it, and I saw one of those underwater structure things, and there was a drown, but you don't mind if I just go in this chest, do you, buddy? And in the chest I got a Luck of the Sea 2 fishing rod and a stone axe, and the drown didn't really even care. He wasn't aggressive at all. And so I started fishing, catching a lot of fish, because I was going to need a lot of food. And I noticed something over there to the left. I was like, what's that? The color looks a little different. I got to swim over and see what it was. And when I got over there, what it was it was a shipwreck. And I really needed wood, so that's a great find. I was starting to drown, so I had to get into the door frame because there's an air pocket. And in the chest, I got a buried treasure map, some armor trim, some paper, and some feathers. And in the other chest, I got some iron, I got some emeralds, I got some gold, and I got some lapis. And then I made a crafting table so that I could make a boat. And then I could use the boat to collect all the wood that I'd chopped from the shipwreck. And I also wanted to collect some kelp because I can use that as a renewable fuel source. So I chopped some kelp and gathered that up with my boat also. And I got back to my island and I started fishing, but I had to eat the raw fish because my health was low from drowning. And then I caught an enchanted book and I looked at it and it had Fortune 2 and Efficiency 4 on it, and I was really happy about that. I still needed to recover some health, and I had some puffer fish, and I was like, maybe I can eat the puffer fish. Oh my god, I shouldn't have done that. That was so stupid. Oh, am I gonna die? Am I gonna die from that? I got one heart left. I got half a heart. So after a near-death experience with a puffer fish, I realized I was gonna need to make a furnace so that I could cook some of this fish I was catching. So I made a pickaxe and I tried to dig a mine, but it was flooded beneath my island, but I was still able to get some stone. And with the stone I made a furnace and I started cooking some kelp. Since the only thing I could really do at this point is fish is what I did for the rest of the day. I fished and I caught fish. I didn't catch anything too rare. I did catch a saddle, but I'm not going to really find a horse on my island. And then I remembered about that buried treasure map I had, and apparently it was buried on my island, so I went looking for the X, and it took me a little while, but then I found it. And in the buried treasure I got some really good stuff. I got some diamonds, I got some iron, I got some water breathing potions, so that was a pretty good find. Then on day 2 I needed to go down to the mines because I needed to get some iron, so I spent the entire day just collecting iron, and I got a pretty good amount of iron. This is at Y level 15. Then on day 3 I decided to mine a little deeper. I found an amethyst geode, so I collected some of that. And then on day 4 I found another little cave a little bit deeper, and there was some mobs, but I took care of them. And then I found a lava pool, and beside the lava pool there was a diamond. There was actually a couple, but I only needed one so that I could make a diamond pickaxe. So that's what I did. I got the diamond. And as I was leaving the mines on day 4, I noticed there was 2 turtles that had spawned. And that made me really happy because maybe now I won't be so lonely. And then I decided to smelt all the iron I had so that I could make an anvil. And with the anvil, I could put the Fortune 2 Efficiency 4 book onto my pickaxe. I spent the rest of that day mining diamonds, and I found a lot of them. This Fortune 2 on my pickaxe really helps, so I had a really good day with diamonds. I didn't get enough for full diamond armor, but I got enough that I could make a diamond plate and a pair of diamond leggings and still have enough to repair my pickaxe. On day 7 I had to go back down to the mines because I still needed some diamonds to get full diamond armor. So luckily I found them and I was able to complete my set of diamond armor. And then later that day I made a bucket so that I could go down and make some obsidian from that lava pool that I'd found. And with the obsidian, I'd be able to make a nether portal. There's a lot of stuff I don't have on my island, and the only way I'm going to get it is by going to the nether. And so that's what I started preparing for on day 8. I started gathering up all the gold I had so that I could make some trades with piglins. I can get a lot of stuff I need from them. I can get leather, I can get string, I can get fire resistance potions. So I built my nether portal and went in there hoping for a good spawn, and I got in the Crimson Forest, and that's actually pretty good for me at this point because it has access to wood, and I don't have any wood on my island. I made friends with a piglin, and then I made a nice little hole for him to live in, and I traded him some gold, and we were getting trades, and he gave me some iron boots, so I threw them back to him because that will keep him from despawning now, and he's right by my nether portal. I didn't really have enough gold to get everything I needed. I still needed a bunch more string, so I went around mining gold, and I found a warped forest, and right beside it there's a bastion, and it's a little early in the game for me to even think about raiding a bastion, but it's nice to know that there's a treasure bastion right there. I got some trades going with some different piglins that were over in that area, and finally I got enough string to make a few things that I needed. So I went back to my island and I made some wool so that I could make a bed finally, and I wouldn't be getting harassed by the phantoms at nighttime anymore. And I also made a new fishing rod so that I could repair the durability on my other one. And that night I finally got to sleep for the first time. The next day, believe it or not, I decided to do some more fishing, and I caught a new fishing rod, and this one had mending, unbreaking 3, and luck of the sea 2 on it, so I could combine it with my current fishing rod to get luck of the sea 3 with mending and unbreaking 3. So that's a really big upgrade. So I spent some more time fishing. I was catching name tags, and finally I caught another book, and this one had silk touch and channeling on it. I don't have much use for the channeling, but I can use the silk touch, so it's a pretty good book. That night I did a little mining. I found some diamonds. And when I got back up to the surface, there was a spider that was harassing my turtles, so I had to take care of the spider. I don't want my turtles to be in any danger, so I gave them some seagrass so that they could lay a turtle egg. And then I made another pickaxe so that I could repair my old one, and I also wanted to make a diamond sword so that I could defend myself a little bit better. And I went back to fishing, and I caught another bow. This bow had power 4 on it, and that's much better than the punch bow that I'd caught earlier. So I made a fresh bow so that I could repair the power 4 bow. And I also made a new pickaxe so that I could put my silk touch book onto it, because that way I can mine a lot more gold in the nether. With the silk touch pick, for every piece of nether gold you mine, you get an entire gold ingot after you put it in the furnace. So I spent the rest of that day mining gold, and then on day 14 I decided to pick a fight with some endermen, and there was 3 of them, and I got 2 eyes from it, so that's pretty good drop rates. And there's that bastion right there, so I got kind of curious. Even though it's kind of early in the game, I decided to snipe the piglin brutes that are on the top level, because that's where a couple chests are, and that's the safe way to do it. So I just, towered my way up to the top chests. I'm not really prepared for the treasure room yet, but I can do these chests. And I got a netherite template from that chest, and also some ancient debris, and that's pretty good because that's what I need to make netherite. And there are 2 more chests, and I got a golden apple and some arrows from one of them, and then in the other one I got another piece of ancient debris. So I had actually planned to come back later for the treasure room part of this bastion, but honestly I just never got around to it. I came back to my island and I had some of those warped funguses, so I used some bone meal and I was able to grow some warped trees from that. There was this little grass island thing kind of close to my island, and I figured it wouldn't really be breaking my rules if I made a land bridge. As long as I didn't step on the land of that island, I could make a bridge and get some of the grass to grow back to my island. On day 16, when I was fishing, I caught a book and it had sharpness 3 on it, so that's pretty good. And on day 17, while I was mining, I found an abandoned mine shaft. In the first chest, I found another golden apple, and I found some melon seeds. And I went exploring some more, and I found another chest, and this one had an Aqua Affinity book in it, which isn't a great book, but I do need all the books I can get so that I can make an enchantment table. I used those diamonds I'd mined, and I made a diamond axe and a diamond shovel, so I finally had a full set of diamond tools. I went back to the Nether because I needed to chop some wood because I needed to get some trapdoors for a mob farm. So I spent the rest of the night just chopping wood. On day 18, I started making the trapdoors I was going to need, and I decided to go down to the mine shaft and get all of the spider webs that I could. Oh my god, that was almost the end right there. And after another near-death experience, I realized that I was going to need to be a little safer, at least until I got enchantments on my armor. I found another chest that had a god apple and some melon seeds in it. On day 19, all I did was collect some kelp, and then I bred my turtles so that they would lay some more eggs. On day 20, I started collecting up some of the things that I was going to need for the Nether, and I got some gold bars, and I put sharpness 3 onto my sword, and I went back into the Nether so that I could do some piglin trades. I ran out of gold pretty quickly though, so I had to go and mine some more with my Silk Touch pickaxe. So I spent the next little while just mining nether gold until a gas had a problem, but I got the Return to Sender achievement from him. Then I found a Soul Sand Valley, and I wanted to get some of those bone blocks they had, but this skeleton shot me and knocked me into the lava. I stayed calm though because I had a bunch of fire resistance potions in my inventory, so the only thing that could have killed me there is if I had panicked and not got my potion quick enough. I started bridging out of the lava, and I ended up on the other side from where I had been at. That ended up being great luck though, because there was a fortress right there. So I drank some fire res and I ran into the fortress. There was a bunch of wither skeletons trying to attack me, but I'd set up a barricade so that they couldn't get to me. And I also set a barricade near the blaze spawner, so it would just be me and the blazes in there. I got a few blaze rods, and I was, running out of fire res potions. And I just, down to the last second of my fire res, I got 7 blaze rods, and that'd be enough if I was just trying to go fight the ender dragon, but I need to make a brewing stand and also some potions, so that's not going to be enough blaze rods. I still needed to get some enchanted books from piglins, so I just kept bringing them more and more gold, but finally I got 2 enchanted books, and I already had that Aqua Affinity book that I was willing to unenchant, so I had enough for a bookshelf. And I decided it was time to build a house, and I'm really not a good builder in Minecraft, so sorry about my sloppy building skills, but I needed somewhere to be a little safe from the phantoms that were attacking me every night. On day 25, I grew some more warp stems so that I could finish my house, and by that night I was getting finished with my roof. I really dislike making roofs in Minecraft, Day 26, I went back down to the mine shaft because I wanted to get some more cobwebs, and I found a spider spawner, and in the chest I got a golden apple and a music disc. After that I found a cave spider spawner, which gave me all the string I was going to need to make my mob farm. So on day 28 I started making my mob farm. Day 33 I completed my mob grinder, and one of the first mobs to spawn in it was a zombie villager, so I had to close down the mob farm so that I could get him into a boat. But after that I released all the mobs, and there was tons of them, so I spent the rest of the day just grinding mobs. That night I had another zombie villager spawn, so I rescued him from the grinder also, and I put him into a boat. I had to wait to make a cure though, because I needed some sugar, and the only way I was going to be able to get sugar on my island was either a wandering trader or get a witch to drop some. And witches are already a rare mob to have spawn, and getting them to drop sugar without having looting on your sword is also difficult. So I did get a few witches, but they weren't dropping sugar. I went mining so I could gather some blocks, because I'm trying to make a bubble elevator up to the mob grinder, because I don't really like taking the ladder. It takes almost a minute to go up the ladder. So I spent the next day just building a bubble elevator, and I had some soul sand already and a lot of bone meal, so I just turned all the blocks into source blocks with the soul sand at the bottom, and it shoots you straight up to the top really quickly. On day 38 a witch dropped into my mob grinder, and I got my hopes up, but she didn't drop any sugar. She dropped some spider eyes though, but I don't need those. Day 39, I got another witch in there, but she didn't drop any sugar either. On day 40, I just started expanding my island a little bit. Day 41, I had another witch, and she did not drop any sugar either. I was having really bad luck with the drop rates from the witches, I think. On day 42, I went mining a little bit so I could find some more dirt, so I could expand my island a little more. I kind of had hopes that when the grass got there I'd be able to spawn some animals, but I didn't realize that I'm in a biome that doesn't allow animals to spawn on grass. I'm on a beach biome. I was spending all my nights up at the mob grinder because the phantoms couldn't get to me up there. On day 44 I started expanding my island a little with some different blocks, because I was hoping maybe that would help a wandering trader spawn. On day 44, I had another witch drop, and I had my hopes up again, but she didn't drop any sugar either. I was starting to get hopeless for the sugar from a witch, and I was trying to figure out what my other options could be. And on day 45, I went back up to the mob grinder for the night, and I saw a witch spawn. And I was actually pretty sure she wasn't going to drop any sugar at this point, but she did. She dropped some sugar, and I was really excited. So quick as I could, I returned back to my house so that I could make a brewing stand, and I could make a fermented spider eye with the sugar and a brown mushroom. And then I made some splash potions of weakness and splashed the zombie villagers with them and gave them both a golden apple so that I could de-zombify them. It took a little while, but I just wanted to stand there with them watching me so that one wouldn't turn the other back into a zombie. It took until day 46, but we finally have some villagers, so things can start moving a little quicker now. So I got one villager into his bed, and then the other one accepted his bed with no problem. And I grew some carrots inside that night so that the phantoms wouldn't mess with me. And I gave the villagers a stack of carrots so that they would make more villagers. And on day 47, I saw the little heart emotes, so I knew that they'd made another villager. So I said, "What's up?" to him. "What's up, little guy?" And then I made a weapon stand so that I could disenchant the books I have and make a lectern and get a librarian villager and hopefully get a mending book. That was my plan. I just had to keep breaking the lectern, and I needed to get bookshelf trade and mending, which I wasn't getting. And then I heard the wandering trader go, "Huh," outside, so I had to run out there and see what trades he had. Even though he was invisible, he drinks his invisibility potion at nighttime. At first I didn't see it because it was all the way up there at the top, and I was kind of sad because I'd been waiting on the wandering trader for so long. But then I saw it. I saw the sugarcane, and I bought all that he had, which was only 8, but you only need a couple sugarcane to get a nice little farm going. So that's what I did, is I planted all the sugarcane, and then I went back, and the first trade I got from my villager now was mending with the bookshelf trade, which I'd been waiting on, so that's good. And I got the wandering trader's llamas into a boat, and then I tamed them so that they wouldn't despawn, because they'll despawn if you don't tame a wandering trader llama. And then I did some villager trading so that I'd have some emeralds to buy the bookshelves that I was going to need to make my enchanting table. I also made a loom so that when one of my villagers grew up, I'd be able to buy some beds from him. On day 49, I started buying the bookshelves that I would need, and I bought my villager out, but I just let him restock his trades, and I was able to get 16 bookshelves. So that was enough to make an enchantment table and have 15 bookshelves to get the level 30 enchantment. And then for the next little while, all I did was enchant all of my gear. On day 50, I had just about all the enchantments I needed, except for I still didn't have looting for my sword, and I didn't have feather falling for my boots. Another wandering trader spawned, and this one had a dark oak sapling. So I went to get some emeralds together so that I have to buy 4 of them, because you can't just grow a single dark oak tree, unfortunately. So I bought 4 saplings from the wandering trader, and then I bone mealed them and chopped down my first tree. And I used my Fortune 3 pickaxe for the leaves so that I have a higher chance of dropping saplings, because I needed 4 at least. But by the end of the day, I had a couple trees planted, and I still had 18 saplings, so I was doing pretty good. Day 52, I got some wheat seeds from the grass, and I started making some wheat to make hay bales because I wanted to breed my llamas. Hey, little llama, who's a good llama? That night I tamed a cat. It was a cute little white cat. I didn't have a name for it, though. And then that night I bought some carpets so that I'd be able to level him up to eventually sell me books. And I could put the carpets on my llamas so that they would look kind of cool. There was another cat in my house, so I tamed him also. And there was another cat the next day, and he got tamed. So I was starting to have a lot of cats. And I was finally able to buy beds from my villager. And I also bought some mending books so that I could put mending on all my gear. And so I spent the next few days just up at the mob farm grinding mobs so that I could repair the durability on all of my gear. Before that, everything was about to break, so it took me 3 days to get everything repaired. On day 55, I went down to the mines because I needed to mine some stone blocks because I wanted to make some stone bricks for the iron farm that I was wanting to build. So I gathered up all the supplies that I was going to need for the iron farm. On day 56, I started building the iron farm. This iron farm is designed by Shulkercraft, and I'll leave a link in the description on how you can build it yourself. I actually messed it up, so I had to spend a whole day trying to figure out what mistake I'd made. So I'm not going to go into much detail on how to build it. I'll just do a montage of me trying to repair the messed up part of it. On the morning of day 58, I caught a zombie in a boat, and then I put some blocks above his head so that he wouldn't catch on fire from the sunlight. And then I started bringing villagers over to the iron farm so that they could take their job blocks in there. And it was pretty simple. And then after that night, I got the zombie to follow me back to the iron farm, and that was pretty simple also. And then all I had to do after that was put a name tag on him, and that would keep him from despawning. I spent the rest of the night just finishing up the final things I needed for the iron farm, and then on day 59 I had to make sure it was working, so I AFK'd for most of the day. And that night I bought a bell from my toolsmith so that my villagers would be a little more happy. And the next day I bought another bell because I like things symmetrical, and one bell was just kind of confusing. Later that day I tamed a ginger cat, and then after that I tamed a Siamese cat. And I went back to fishing that night, and I caught another fishing rod, and this one had lure 3 on it. So that makes fishing much quicker. And I set up some lecterns because I wanted to get a looting book. And I got looting 1, which I could just combine on my anvil and make a looting 3 out of that. But then I realized I didn't have enough levels to put it onto my sword, so I had to go up to my mob grinder for that day and get the EXP. Then on day 62 I just collected some more dirt so that I could expand my island a little more. I wanted to have a big grass area. I was spending time at the mob grinder because I was trying to collect a lot of gunpowder, and I also put a enchantment on my golden helmet for the Nether. I leveled up my farmer villager so that I was able to buy golden carrots from him. And then on day 65 I started gathering up all the stuff that I was going to need to go to the Nether to get wither skulls. And then later that day I headed back into the Nether so that I could find that fortress I'd found earlier. Here's a little montage of me killing wither skeletons. Nice. On day 69 I finally got my 3rd wither skull, and I made it back home by day 70. I went and dug a tunnel so that I could fight the wither in a tunnel, because I didn't want him to destroy my island. So I sped this up. I think it's like 2.5 times speed or something. It's a really simple fight though. I think I only got like hit once by the wither. You just gotta shoot him through the tunnel, shoot at his feet, and then when he gets to half health you gotta go in with the sword, but he can't come in the tunnel. But if you get too close he'll hit you with one of the projectiles. But just like that, I had the Nether star now, so I'd be able to make a beacon. Unfortunately, I don't have enough resources to make a full beacon yet. I kept having to pull my iron golems away from the iron farm, because if they stay too close to it, it will slow down the efficiency of the iron farm. On day 72, I started gathering up all the gunpowder I had so I could make TNT, because I wanted to go to the Nether and mine some Netherite. So on day 73, I mined down to the level that you mine at. It's like Y17, and I was trying to make tunnels for TNT, but I kept running into spare pieces of Netherite, so I can't complain, but it was kind of unexpected. Day 78, I got back home and I started duplicating my Netherite templates so that I could make as much gear as I could. I had enough Netherite to make all the gear, but I didn't have enough diamonds to make enough to duplicate enough templates. But I could make my most important stuff, which was my armor and my pickaxe and my sword and my wood axe. So I got on my Netherite, and then I decided that I wanted to duplicate my armor trim so that I could put a trim on my armor before I put it on. But here I am on day 78 with fully enchanted, trimmed Netherite armor. On day 79, I started building the base for my beacon. I didn't have enough blocks to make a full beacon, but I could at least make the base for it. And I felt like things were kind of going slow, waiting on my iron farm to make all the iron, so I went down to the mines to mine some ore with my Fortune 3 pickaxe, and I got a little more than a stack, so that would speed things up. And so the next day I made my beacon, and I completed the pyramid, and I added the beacon to it, and I got both of the achievements at once. And then I used black colored glass to make it a black light beam, and I chose speed for the enhancement. Right here is when I realized that I wasn't going to be able to spawn any animals on my island. It's a island, so the only animals that will spawn are turtles, and I've spawned a lot of them. I didn't have all that much I could do because I was going to fight the dragon in a few days. So I just kind of spent time. I couldn't start any big projects because I didn't know how long it was going to take me to fight the dragon. So I just kind of spent time around breeding my llamas and putting different colored carpets on them to see which looked the best. I had to, one of my villagers had a Feather Falling 2 book, but it was real expensive. So I had to do everything I could to get emeralds to buy 4 of them so that I could turn it into a Feather Falling 4 book. That night I made some Feather Falling potions for my upcoming dragon fight. And the next day I enchanted my diamond hoe, and then I put my Feather Falling on my boots. And that night I made a wheat farm so that I'd have more hay so that I could breed more of my llamas easily. On day 87 I was kind of just wasting time with my llamas because I was going for the dragon fight on day 90, so I really couldn't do much of anything. I think that's a purple carpet. I think the purple one looks pretty cool. It has like dragon eyes on it or something. And so day 89, and I just started getting everything that I was going to need for my dragon fight together. Day 90 got here, and it was finally time to leave my island and go find the fortress. This was the only time I was allowing myself to set foot on another landmass, and it was a necessity because the only way to get to the fortress was to walk on another landmass. So I found where the eye was pointing me, and I started digging down. I was doing a 2-block dig down so I wouldn't fall straight down into something I didn't want to fall into. And then I saw the stone bricks for the fortress, and I got the achievement for I Spy. This is one of the easiest fortresses I've ever went through. I had to go through 2 different doorways, and there was the portal room right there with the silverfish spawner. There was already 2 eyes in there, so I only needed 10, and I had more than enough for that. So I set them into the portal, and I wasn't completely ready to go fight the dragon yet, but I wanted to put the eyes in there. And then I set down my bed. I was just trying to set a respawn, but it slept for the night. So on day 91, I got to the end, and I had to pillar up there, and it was a pretty standard dragon fight. I mean, if you've seen one, you've seen them all. I'm sure most of you have killed the dragon many, many times. So I just had to pillar up to the caged-in crystals, and then pillar up kind of high, and take out the rest of the crystals with my bow. I'm not really this much of a crack shot. I used editing to skip out the times that I missed the crystals. I did get some pretty good shots when I was flying down from the pillar on the dragon. Once you get the crystals out of the way, it's pretty much, you have the fight in the bag. I mean, that's the hardest part of the fight, is getting the crystals shot. So yeah, it was just a really standard fight. It was over before I knew it, and I got the achievement for Free the End, and I ran around and I collected all the EXP it dropped. I didn't really need all the EXP because I already had full kitted out gear, but I mean, you can't just leave EXP behind, so I gathered it up, and accidentally looked at this Enderman, but he wasn't that much of a problem. So I pillared up to the portal and went to the end looking for an end city. I turned my render distance all the way up to 32 chunks so that it would make it easier to see. And I did find a end city pretty quickly after doing that. It was kind of far away, but I was able to get over there after doing some bridging across the void. I just pillared straight up to the end ship and went straight into the room to get the elytra. And I did go through the chests in there, and there was a little bit of good loot. But what I really wanted was some shulker shells. So I had to fly over to the other end city because it was much bigger. And I knew there was going to be a lot of opportunity to get shulker shells over there. And I could also, loot the chests while I was there and collect the ender chests. I guess I looted like maybe four or five of the treasure rooms. And after that, I just decided to put on my elytra, and I brought some fireworks with me. So it made it real simple just to fly back and find a portal back to the end. And it sent me back to the platform I spawned on. I thought that was kind of weird. Normally it puts you at the other portal, but it's all good. And I got I didn't forget the dragon egg, and then I went and jumped into the portal, and I guess I technically beat the game right there. And I let some of the credits roll. I didn't record them, but the credits are nice to read sometimes, but I've read them a few times, so I don't always wait on it now. I decided to fly my elytra back home instead of going through the Nether like I normally do, because I wanted to get a look around and see all the surrounding landforms with my render distance up at 32 chunks still. Then I got home in the afternoon of day 93, and I went into our house so I could tell my villagers about how I beat the ender dragon. And they were pretty excited at first, but then they kind of lost interest. That's just kind of how villagers are. I got a Unbreaking 3 book with some of my levels, so I could put that onto my elytra. And I wanted to buy a lot of mending books because I still had some gear that didn't have mending on it, and my elytra especially needed mending. But I put mending on every piece of gear and tool that I use. And I went down to the mines because I still needed some diamonds, because I wanted to get netherite on all of my tools, not just the important ones. So I got all those diamonds, and I made some more netherite templates, and I put netherite ingots on all of my tools, including my netherite hoe. And I got the achievement for serious dedication, telling me that I need to reevaluate my life goals. I wanted to get a little crop farm of each of the different crops, so I spent the next couple days doing that. And right there is a beetroot crop. I know that's kind of gross, but I had to plant it. And by the end of day 97, I had all my crops planted, and I went flying around with my elytra to see if I'd missed anything around me in the sea. And I saw a underwater temple with a shipwreck right beside it, and I went to the shipwreck to see what was in it, and I got a couple moss blocks. And I was going to go see the underwater temple, but I immediately got mining fatigue from a guardian, so I just flew back home because I don't have any milk to cure mining fatigue. So day 98, I just planted some grass near the house, and I flew around with my elytra just to, look at everything. I think I did a pretty good job with this island, seeing as how we started off with just sand. And I made a little map, and I think it looks pretty cool. That night I went flying around with the phantoms because they'd given me so much trouble this 100 days that I wanted to have one last flight with them. And then day 99, I wanted to swap out some of my llama's carpets so that they would all match the color theme of the island. I got rid of all the carpets that had pastel colors and put stuff that would match better. And that night I just kind of rode around on my llama. Well, everyone, it is now officially day 100. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's watched this video. And if you want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. And I hope you have a great day wherever you are.